Do you need a Dune Awakening build with insanely good damage, incredible survivability, even having some AoE mechanics and great CC tied into it, as well as being able to locate all the trainers so that you know exactly where to go and what gear you should be looking for? Then I got the Dune Awakening build for you. What's up, World of Utopia, here back with another video. Today we're checking out all things Dune Awakening. Let's just jump right into it. As I mentioned, this build is very strong. You're going to be one-shotting enemies even in late game areas, and you'll have insane survivability where you're basically invulnerable, especially to some lower tier enemies, and really good survivability against high tier enemies, making it so you can enter anywhere at any time and be able to survive and take down enemies. Let's just get into the build though. We'll go over everything. We'll cover all the skill tree, then we'll go into gearing process, the trainers, where those will be located to actually gear this up and get the skill tree going, as well as a really good primary weapon that you can go get. Okay, so jumping into here, let's get into the skill tree. What is this class mostly based off of? Well, of course, it is the Swordmaster. Now, we're going to be utilizing 3 different specs here, or 3 different main spec trees here, but we'll go over the first one, what we're taking on Swordmaster. If you watched my last video, nothing too much has changed here. We did get some upgrades for this, but there are additional things that we're tying in now. So if we do go through here, first off, of course, you're going to get Deflection. Now, this ability, I do believe, is going to be really good for PvP. It's decent in PvE. You could utilize it if you want to. For right now, I am not taking it, but it is a very good ability with a fast cooldown, so you can take that one if you would like. However, as we go through Deflection, we're jump up to Reckless Lunge. That's going to give us some really good damage mitigation when we are lunging at enemies. The cooldown is fairly fast, but it does at least provide something when we are doing that, and I feel like it is a decent technique for right now. We're also going to go to Confidence, which is going to give us an additional 20% damage mitigation at level 2. Level 1 right now, is 15, so each one will give us an increase there. We haven't upgraded these as we don't need a ton of damage mitigation because of our shield yet, but I do believe this will come into play a lot later. When we're doing a slow attack or a sprint attack, we'll get some additional damage mitigation there. On the left side of things, we are taking 3 of 3 into our blade damage, so we're taking blade damage at 9%, and then we're also going into Dance of Blades, which is a damage boost. Right now, it is at 10%. That goes up 5% per increase there, and the duration does stay the same, but it is a decent one, and they actually did buff this from the beta release. It lasts a lot longer now. You'll notice your sword will turn green, and that kind of gives you the damage bonus there. There's also a little buff icon in the bottom section near your health, but it is fairly decently long now, and I believe lasts around 10 to 15 seconds, so you'll get a few hits off on another enemy. I do believe it is fairly good. And then we're taking long blade damage, which is at 15%. This one you can actually swap out for something else. I'll go over in a bit when we jump over to our other skill tree. Moving on to our right side, we're taking Knee Charge. This ability is insane. I believe it does like 40 damage overall with about 120 poise damage. When you upgrade it to level 2, that goes to 160 damage or 140 damage, I believe, with around 140, 120 poise damage. When you go 3 of 3, it jumps to 325 damage total. This thing is one-shotting even enemies in late game. They don't have any shields on, and it is almost taking off shields of regular enemies. In fact, if you go to the low tier zones, even in Verm, you actually will one-shot enemies through the shield. It's insane. It does so much damage because it does that poise damage. Knee Charge is incredible. It stuns enemies, or at least staggers them for a second, and it does a ton of damage. You are one-shotting literally every enemy in the game if they don't have a shield on with this ability. 3 of 3 into this right away. This should be a must that you take. Field Medicine, we are taking 1 of 3. That's gonna give us the ability to jump up to Crippling Strike. This ability I might swap out eventually for Deflection or another ability, but for right now I do find this one really good for PvE. It does some fairly decent damage, and you also, by the way, this does AoE damage, which is cool, and can even do AoE attacks with that one. That is the AoE CC. Next up here, we have General Conditioning, which we are increasing our max stamina. You want to utilize this as much as you can because that's going to play into another ability that we're increasing for percentage. We also have this one, Stamina Recovery Rate. This class, utilizing a ton of stamina, especially with Deflection. It's going to utilize that. We want our stamina as good as we can. Right now, we have this 2 of 3, but eventually we're going to upgrade this. Jumping over, we also have the Optimized Hydration. Now, I have a ton of water. In fact, I have around 60k in water right now, so I'm doing just fine on water, so I'm constantly hydrated. I make sure that I have my water bottle on me, so I'm constantly hydrated. But if you are one of those that is dehydrated constantly, you could go into Desert Conditioning instead. But for me, I'm always hydrated, so I'm taking this hydrated bonus. This is going to give us a stamina bonus of 25%, and because we're taking this max stamina of 25, we are increasing our overall stamina by 25%, and it plays into that overall. So when we're adding this 25, now we're adding that overall. So we did 125, we add 25% increase there, that is quite a significant amount, so you see how that does kind of domino effect. And actually, just to showcase, I do have 2 full bars of stamina, so it is really, really nice there, especially when I am hydrated. Right now, I am not hydrated. In order to be hydrated, you actually do need to be above the second line, or if we go into here, we can get above that. And then you'll see our stamina bar will increase up to another level there. So that is the not just a first level, that is a third level there. So we go down between that, you do see we get down to here to the second level, and then now we are down into the third level. So you see we have so much stamina, it's crazy. We're gonna see how fast that is regenning, just like that, up through the first level into the second. So we have a ton of stamina. You're gonna want that with the Swordmaster. Next up here we have our second skill tree. Now this is Trooper. Now, Trooper is very early on to get, and it is located, yes, it's located down here in the Haga South. So right down here from Verm, we can kind of see where we're at right now. We are located down here. This is the Trooper vendor. Fairly easy to get. You just have to do a quest. It is over here on this section. And we really want this for the Shigawire Claw. I love this one, has great range, and I'll explain why I'm taking this over the BG abilities, at least in my opinion. It doesn't cost a lot of stamina too, and has a fairly decent cooldown, and it really works well on terrain. We also made a mistake here. Don't take this one. This is battle hardened. It does not work with the other classes. This only works with Trooper abilities. Sure, if that's a bug. It does say experience and basic training, Trooper training of combat allows your abilities to be used more often. It says your abilities, it doesn't say Trooper abilities, but it doesn't work, so don't take battle hardened. It is not a good technique. Also, I did forget to mention, technically this is 4 trees that we're going into. You don't have to take this one, but this one does help with the maximum power rate, which is also going to help our backpack and some of our mining stuff. So I'm taking Planetologist. Planetologist you did actually see on the map when I went to Trooper. It is near the same section here. So we had Trooper over to the left. Planetologist is right here to the right. So if you go in there, you can get Planetologist actually very easy compared to the other ones. It is only one single quest, I believe. We're taking Cuttery Mining and rerouting, but what we really want in here is this one, which is maximum power. This allows you to increase your power. It's good for everything. It's good for mining. It's good for your abilities. It's good for your shield. So I would take this if you haven't already. It's fairly easy tree to early on, and it helps you so much in every other avenue that I feel it is worth it. Jumping over, we have our new skill tree here, our next new one, which is Bene Gesserit. Now, there are a few abilities that we can swap out here, or at least one that I do think is going to come into play. So we are taking Bindu Sprint, but we really want to come into here into blade damage. Now, I do have this one, 3 of 3 for 9%, where you do get Bene. So original Bene vendor is actually right here. It's right here up in the top. You head up into here. Now, there are 2 ways that you can get to it. You can climb this wall, fairly easy. You can take an orthocopter, whatever it's called, the little flight thing if you have that already. Although if you have that, more than likely, you're probably pretty far already. But if not, you can head up this way through here and climb up, and it is fairly easy to get to that once you're there. There's also a second way here where you can go around this way and climb up through here, and eventually you'll get up to there. So you can take this way, come through here, and then reroute around. But the original Bene vendor is here up on this wall. Now, when you do upgrade your abilities, that is actually going to be in a place called Harkco. Now, I'll show the Bene one, and I'll also show where the Swordmaster one, so when you do want to upgrade those to level 2 and level 3, those quest chains are fairly long, but you can get to Harkco from literally any trade post that has a flight path. So we can look at different trade posts here, where there is actually one up here as well. So you can even head to this one. There's a trade post here. You can fly to Harkco. It's a little, as you can see, taxi service. This is the Crossroads trade post. You want to head, use a taxi service. It should say that on there for that one. When you do go to a trade post, it should say that it is a taxi service. So when you do head there, you can utilize that, go to Harkco, and then you can upgrade your abilities. Now, those do take quite a while. They are pretty long, decently long quests, but we do want to have that for the level 3 of 3 blade damage. Now, if you wanted to take short blades, if you didn't want to do long blades, here's where you could swap out and do a short blade damage build here if you wanted to, although I do prefer long blade. But short blade is here as well if you wanted to do that. Now, there's also an ability, I'm sure people are going to be like, why aren't you taking Compel? Why aren't you taking Stop? These I might eventually play into. You definitely could take these over the Shigawire Claw. The reason why I like Shigawire Claw is it actually uses less stamina overall, and it has a decent range. And you also have terrain abilities there, less stamina, as I said, and it feels good overall, at least comparative to this. But BG probably will be better, especially for PvP eventually. Especially when I have the stamina now, I probably could swap to Compel, or at least even Stop. Both of these 5-second duration here for Stop, really good one there. And then Compel will also bring an enemy toward you. This is going to be really good for people that are shooting. So I think the things are going to play it in PvP quite a lot. As of right now, though, I'm not taking it, as I really want to just kind of maximize my stamina as much as possible until I get later gear. Now, a lot of people are probably going to be like, why aren't you taking Warding Step? I don't like Warding Step at all. This one, enemies can still see you, they'll dodge out of your steps. I'm not a fan of that one, but if you like it, you could. There's also some instability damage here you could take eventually if you want to play into that. And Bindu Strikes, although I don't like Bindu Strikes, especially because you can only get level 1 of it, and you can't increase the damage there. But both of these are going to be fairly good. I would not take Invis or Ignore. This is not a good one at all. They still see you, enemies still see you. It's not going to be good in PvE. I don't know how it's going to work in PvE. I haven't really tested that, obviously, yet. And jumping over here, eventually we'll probably go into this tree where we get max health. Again, I'll keep updating this build as much as I can, but those are our 3 skill trees there going into those 3. Now for our gearing process, what do you want to focus on mainly? Well, you want to get some decent gear, and you really want to stay with light gear because that's going to give you the dash cost reduction, so you can have that stamina cost there reduction, and it'll give you some blade mitigation. You could run a heavy build if you wanted to, or a still suit. Either of those work fine if you really wanted to do so. The main thing here, your priority, it should be your weapon. You should always be upgrading your weapon first. So anytime you get aluminum, anytime you upgrade to a tier, upgrade your weapon first, as that's going to increase your damage a ton. There also is one more tip here, where to find a really good weapon. I just found this one actually, and if you go to this section of the map into here, and you go to the Misa Tauril, we're located, you go up into here, you can actually find this sword here. And this is an aluminum product, but this is called the Spark Sword. Now, the damage on this thing is insane. 76 damage total, comparative to even our regular sword here, which is only 28 damage. And this is a tier 4 item, so them being in the same tier, these are both aluminum products or aluminum things that you can craft. We can even see here in the tiers, obviously people call tier systems, where this one doesn't count, Savage Products doesn't count. So we got tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, and tier 4. So you ever hear anybody talk about the tiers, that's where they're getting that from, where we have T5 and T6. But yeah, obviously the House Longblade here is a tier 4 weapon, and also this one is a tier 4 weapon. So the fact that, because it's under aluminum products, tier 4, the fact that it does 76 damage is absolutely insane. Now your attack speed is a little bit slower. I'm not using this one right now. I do believe I put it away somewhere, as I don't want to break it. You only get 1 craft of it, and so that's kind of where you'll have to be farming those. So I'll eventually be farming this territory here, but I would go in here, and the chest at the very end I do believe is where I got it from. So you have to go through here. It's a fairly easy one to get through, and eventually get that sword. Overall, that's what I covered for today's video. If you enjoyed it, like and subscribe, and until the next one. Deuce!